Hey guys, it's the next Mike Geik here, and I'm back with another video for Hero Cantare. In today's video, I'm going to go over some of the overlooked S characters. In these gacha games, the high rarity characters tend to get all the glory, and usually rightfully so. A lot of times they end up being the best in slot for certain roles, and Hero Cantare is no different. For instance, if you're looking for the best healer, that's probably going to be Chloris, right? Double S character. If you're looking for the best overall tank, it's going to be this new chick, Kaiser, not sure how to pronounce that, but she's best in slot for tank right now. If you're looking for best overall DPS, it's probably going to be Crusader Miru. However, that doesn't mean that the S characters are just in there to fill out a roster. A lot of them do have some utility, and they sometimes are actually linchpins to certain types of build. So in today's video, I'm going to go over 5 characters that are S ranked that I think we should at least be looking at and probably deserve to eventually get built up and used. So first off, first character I'm going to go over is Flora. Now, Flora often gets mistaken as a healer, and while she does have some heals, specifically on skill 2, the main thing that Flora is really good at is she is a cleanser, and she's probably the best cleanser in the game right now. So if we look at her first skill attacks one random opponent with 95% attack and removes 2 weakening statuses of the hero and 1 ally. So she's going to clear 2 weakened statuses on her and 1 of her allies, and she gets that on her base skill. It's a base skill, so if you have a lot of weakening statuses out, she can actually spam that if you have multiple of her cards on a draw. Next off, she's got on her second, she has that heal on the 2 allies with the lowest HP, but more importantly, she grants them immunity for 2 turns. And that's again, you have a cleanse on skill 1 and you have immunity on skill 2. That's a very unique kit. There's not another character in this game right now that does what she does. And then her third, she generates a nice shield for all allies. And then her passive, again, when she falls below 50% HP, she generates another big shield. So she's actually pretty tanky too. So she's got a cleanse, she puts out some immunity, and she herself is pretty tanky, and she has a little bit of heal going off too. Areas that I think Flora is going to be good at, really I'm looking at like Salamander, Advent Boss. That Advent Boss puts out burns, does extra damage based off of the burns that are getting put out. So she's going to be cleansing those burns. She's going to be putting out immunity, so your team's not even getting burnt in the first place. And I think against certain comps in Arena, she might be useful, right? Right now with everybody building a lot of dot characters, being able to cleanse some of those dots might be useful. It kind of just depends. But I think Flora is definitely a character that you should build and is going to have some utility on some teams. The next character that I would look at is Erin. Now, Erin, again, she's just mainly a healer, right? And I would build her mainly if you didn't pull a Chloris. But the game gives you a lot of Erin pieces, so you can build her up pretty quickly. And she's just got a lot of heals, right? So, in fact, I believe she heals off of every single skill. Her first skill attacks an opponent in the back row and recovers 12% of HP of the ally with the lowest HP. Not a big heal, but just a small little heal off her first attack. Skill 2 recovers 25% of the hero's maximum HP of the hero and the ally with the lowest HP, so she's going to heal herself and heal another ally. Skill 3 recovers all of the allies' HP by 20% of the hero's maximum HP and boosts the hero's defense by 50% for 2 turns. So that's a nice AoE heal plus defense boost. And then she has water drops of recovery. Her passive is a nice, again, AoE heal that pops off when she dies. And she also boosts their critical hit rate. So that's pretty good. Again, if you don't have a chorus, Aaron, go ahead and build her. She's going to be the next best in-slot hero right now, healer right now. If you do have Chloris, maybe you're not going to build her. But right now, like, Chloris is the best healer. So if you didn't pull her, I think Aaron's going to be your next best bet. Next character is Armis. This character does get talked about a lot, and rightfully so. She's kind of a unique attack / supporter. She actually has the best base attack stat for any of the S characters, and her base attack actually rivals some of the bigger DPS units, SS characters. She actually has higher base attack than Crusader Mirror U. She's got higher base attack, or slightly lower base attack than Black March Band, but it's like right there in the same neighborhood. So the problem with her, though, is that her two main attacks are single target, right? So skill 1, single target, puts out poison. Skill 2, again, single target, bigger damage, puts out 2 poisons. But what really makes her really good, in my opinion, is her skill 3. And her skill 3 is an AoE attack that also boosts your whole team's attack and crit rate by 30% for 2 turns. So it's attack and crit rate. So it's going to instantly make your team that next round or the rest of that round hit a lot harder. And in my opinion, that's what really makes Arms a good character. Her passive's okay. Speed is boosted by 50 for 2 turns when attacking poisoned opponents. Her speed is already kind of low, so it's, not great. The big drawback to Arms is you want to build her as an attacker to take advantage of her high base attack and take advantage of her poison damage that she's putting out, but she has some of the worst defense in the game, and her HP is also pretty subpar, so she's actually really squishy. So when you go to build her, think about that. Think about what role you're going to use her for. Are you putting her out as a secondary DPS, or maybe even your main DPS unit, which I advise against that? Or are you going to put her out there as kind of just like, so some little burst DPS, but mainly for her skill 3 with that attack and crit rate support that she's going to put out? If that's the case, then I would highly suggest, maybe running some vitality on her and getting her HP up, so at least she can be around for a couple turns. So that is my number 3 character. The next character that I think everybody should be looking at is Casey. You've definitely been hearing about Casey recently. Casey's really awesome, right? She's going to put out some bleeds, but the thing that makes her really awesome is her skill 2, which is attacks the opponent with the highest HP by 210 attack and boosts the weakening statuses of that opponent for 2 turns. So she's going to extend weakening statuses. So if you're putting out burns, if you're doing a dot team that's putting out burns or putting out bleeds or putting out poisons, she's going to boost those weakening statuses and extend them for an additional 2 turns. And she can also extend stuns for 2 turns. So really powerful with some of the characters that are out, especially the new character that came out that puts out all those bleeds. She can extend those bleeds. She also does more damage when she's attacking an opponent because of the Fever Time passive that's under bleed. So pairing her with other characters that put out bleed is awesome. And again, she puts out some bleeds herself. But really, it's about that second skill, extending those status. I think that's going to be really important in Advent Boss. If you're trying to put out a stun lock team that stuns the boss down, the ability to just roll that second ability and extend that stun for another 2 teams, that's pretty game-changing. So Casey is definitely a character, probably one of the better S characters right now in the game, character you should definitely be looking at. All right, and my last character that I think we should be looking at is Yuri. Yuri is a pretty unique character. Her base attack is actually pretty low for an attacker, and that's what she is. But her kit complements that, and you'll see how that works out as we go through her abilities. So her first ability attacks the opponent with the highest attack by 130 attack, and if the opponent's attack is higher than yours, deal an additional 40 attack damage. Okay. Her second one, attack one opponent with 230 attack and boost all allies. Crit hit rate by 30% for turn 2, so a nice AoE crit hit rate boost for your team. So if you're not running arms, here's another way to get that crit hit boost. And then skill 3 attacks all opponents by 140 attack, inflicts 70% additional damage on opponents with attack higher than the hero, and decreases their attack for 2 turns. So for her 3 main ones, 2 of her 3 attacks deal more damage if the opponents that you're attacking have higher attack than her. So it's actually kind of beneficial that her base attack is low. And even if you look at her first passive, it doesn't boost attack, which is kind of strange for an attacker. Most attackers will have an attack boost there, but she doesn't actually want that attack boost. She wants to be attacking people that have higher attack than her. So how you take advantage of that is you build her on a full crit hit, crit damage build, right? Her base attack, you want it to be lower than all the other attackers, and, you know, probably even lower than some of the supports. Some of the supports, like Flame Coon, has actually like a really, really high attack. So you want her to be lower than all of that, but you just want her to get her damage from the bonus damage you're getting for attacking people that have higher attack. And then also triggering crits and putting out insane crit damage. And that's how you're gonna build her. She also has this really decent passive Sacred Animals bubble, which makes one ally with the lowest maximum HP immune to damage for 1 turn when the game starts. That's more of like a PvP type ability, right? Like in, boss battles and that kind of stuff. That first turn having immunity, damage immunity is not that big deal. But in PvP, that could be a big deal. And then she actually does have ultimate or EX attack, attacks all opponents with 150 attack and recovers 2 mana. So even though that's not taking advantage of the fact that she's going to have lower attack like some of her other skills does, she is recovering 2 mana. So that's a nice little ult that helps you with your mana management in more than one way, actually. EX skills are always good for mana management because they don't cost any mana to use. But not only that, you're also gaining 2 mana back. So the turn after you use her ult, you're going to be in good shape for mana. So that is my 5 S characters that I think we should be looking at. This by no means means that any of the other S characters aren't worth looking at. The game's still pretty new. So we're all, as a community, kind of trying to figure out and experiment with some of the other characters. Everybody's playing with the SS characters right now. So, some of us are starting to experiment with some of the S characters, see if they can fill some gaps on some of our teams. So I'm sure there's some other S characters that I didn't mention that are definitely worth building. There's definitely some that I would like to experiment with. Even, there is tier lists that say, oh, this S character is not good. I'm not sure about that. I think you look at some of the skills that some of these characters have, and I think they just need the right team or, the right build to work. And also, when we have new characters come out, that could change these S characters. Just one character comes out and can completely take another character from being useless to being very useful. So experiment with the S characters. This game has an awesome recall system. Yeah, it's kind of expensive, 700 gems, but it allows you to play around with some of these characters. Maybe even make an alt and fool around with some of these S characters. That's what I've done. I've been fooling around with some of the characters I'd like to take a look at on one of my alts. And again, as a community, if we keep looking at these S characters, I'm sure we're going to find some hidden gems here. But that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give me a like. Go ahead and leave a comment down below if you feel like I overlooked an S character or you think you know, there's another S character that I should be building and looking at, and that you'd like to see on one of these type lists. And again, if you guys have any other things that you'd like me to cover, whether that be in Hero Cantare or any other games, I'm into gacha games. This just happens to be the main game I'm playing right now. But again, guys, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching the video, and have a good one.